Good afternoon, ma. Sarah greeted as she walked into the flat one hot sunny afternoon. Agnes, a light-skinned woman with sharp eyes, looked up from her magazine, where she sat. She narrowed her eyes at Sarah and sneered. "Who is this one?" she asked, eyeing Sarah from head to toe. "Tell me, why should this afternoon be good, eh? Even if it was good, you just ruined it." Sarah's smile faded. She blinked, taken aback by the anger in the woman's voice. She unconsciously rolled her eyes. "I'm Sarah. I'm Femi's fiancé." Agnes let out a short, cold laugh. "Oh, I see. Forgive my foolishness, ma." "Eh?" she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Will you get out of this house right now?" She barked suddenly, her voice rising like thunder. Sarah paused, her legs frozen to the spot. "Ma, I just want—" "Shut up and get out!" Agnes shouted. Sarah felt her face flush with embarrassment. She turned quickly and rushed out, her heart pounding. Back at Sarah's house, she flung her bag onto the bed and collapsed beside it. Doran, her friend and roommate, sat cross-legged, scrolling through her phone. She glanced at Sarah and frowned. "Huh? What happened?" Sarah exhaled loudly and shook her head. "Doran, you won't believe what happened to me today." Doran sat up with interest. What's up?" Sarah sighed. "I met Femi's mother today." Doran's brows lifted. "Oh, so how did it go?" Sarah groaned, covering her face. "Horrible. It was the most embarrassing moment ever. The thing is, I was around Femi's neighborhood to see a client, and since I was so tired, I decided to chill at his place for a while before heading home. The moment I stepped in, his mother insulted me and chased me out like I was a common thief." Doran's eyes widened. "Ha. The rumors are true then. I heard she's a hard nut." Doran sighed. "But Femi does not look like a mommy's boy. How come his mother has his house keys? This is ridiculous." Sarah shook her head. "I don't know. Well, she's sure lucky. If not me, I would ignore her and go rest in one of the rooms. When she's done shouting, she would leave." Sarah smiled. You think it's that easy? That man looks like someone who can pour hot water on a person." That night, Sarah's phone rang. She picked it up and saw Femi's name on the screen. She rolled her eyes and ignored it. The phone rang again and again. On the fourth ring, she picked up. "Sarah." Femi's voice came through, sharp and serious. She folded her arms. "What do you want, Femi? Why did you disrespect my mother today?" Sarah's jaw dropped. "Excuse me? What did you just say?" "You heard me. My mother said you rolled your eyes at her and acted rude." Sarah felt anger rise in her chest. "Oh, so that's the story she told you?" "Sarah, see, I don't care what happened. You should have respected her, no matter what she did. She's my mother." Sarah hissed. "You know what, Femi? Just get off my phone," she said as she hung up. Femi Akinola was the only child of Chief Duncan and Agnes Akinola. Before he was born, Agnes had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. But tragedy struck one fateful night. A fire broke out in the apartment while Chief Duncan and his wife were away. By the time neighbors noticed, it was late. Their children were burnt. After years of mourning, Agnes conceived again and gave birth to Femi. But that was the last child she would ever have. Femi became the apple of their eyes. Agnes in particular clung to him like a lifeline. Even as Femi grew older, he remained under his mother's watchful gaze. But Femi longed for freedom. In the university, he worked hard to break free. He learned different skills just to prove he could be independent and make a name for himself. After graduation, he started a fabric business. At first, things were good. But as the months passed, debts piled up. More customers owed him money than those who paid. He even struggled to keep the business afloat. He kept it from his parents. Every time they called, he smiled and lied. "Business is booming," he would say. During the Christmas holidays, he went home. He could no longer pretend. One evening, as he sat with his mother in the garden, he sighed deeply. "Ma, there is something you need to know." Agnes turned to him. "What is it?" "My business. It's not doing well. I'm struggling. I've literally put in every dime I have, and I have nothing to show for it. I'm currently at the verge of closing down." Agnes paused and placed a hand on her chest. Femi. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Why do you have to suffer alone, my baby boy?" Femi shook his head. "I wanted to do it on my own, and you must not get involved in everything." She wiped an invisible tear. "You know what? Don't worry, my son. I'll find a way." Femi frowned. "What will you do?" Agnes gave him a knowing look. That's not your business. Just have a good time while I sort it out. He knew his mother well. When she said things like that, she never failed. As the holidays ended, she called him into her room. We'll send money for you to restock your store for the year. Femi's face lit up. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma. She smiled. Well, but that's not all. You will see a difference in your business this year. But on one condition. She leaned in and whispered into his ear. Femi's eyes widened. Mom, what? She patted his back. Come on. I'm serious, just obey and you'll be the most popular fabric dealer in this country. Mom, although I don't like your terms, but if it's for the good of my business, then I'll try. But that's scary. Scary? Look at this young man. To be successful in life, you must do the scary. Welcome on board, son. You should be grateful to have me do all this for you. The next day, Femi boarded a flight back to Lagos, his heart filled with excitement and a little fear. His mother had never failed him before, and he was eager to see what the new year had in store. True to his mother's words, within months, his business boomed. Customers flocked in buying in bulk. His name spread like wildfire. He expanded, hired more workers, and even opened branches in 3 other states. As Femi's wealth and business grew, so did his love for women. It seemed like he was competing with the biblical King Solomon. At clubs, high-end restaurants, and even in his office, they surrounded him, each one hoping to be the woman who would finally tie him down. During one of his escapades that he met Sarah. She had a quiet grace about her. She was soft-spoken but confident, but she was just another woman he would charm and discard. Happy birthday! Femi shouted one morning, waking Sarah up with a cake covered in lit candles. She rubbed her sleepy eyes and sat up, smiling as he presented the cake before her. You may now make a wish, my queen, he said. Sarah paused for a while, deep in thought. Femi smiled. Why are you taking long? I made no request for half of my kingdom, as they waste time so. She smiled, took a deep breath, and asked, Femi, when are we getting married? Femi's smile widened as if he had been expecting the question. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small box, and went on one knee before her. She was screaming. Before he could even speak, Sarah screamed, Yes, 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 and stretched out her hand eagerly. He slid the ring into her finger, and she pulled him into a tight hug, her heart swelling with joy. To her, they had a future to plan. To Femi, he had just concluded another project. Back to the present. That evening, Femi returned home, freshened up, and sat down for dinner when his mother, Agnes, began her usual complaints. Femi, what were these slots that parried your household? She said, folding her arms across her chest. Femi sighed and rolled his eyes. What is the problem again, ma? It's why I say you should stop coming here and just stay with your husband. Hear me first. One of them walked in here recklessly and even had the guts to disrespect me. Besides, why do you even give them keys to your house? Femi stabbed a piece of meat with his fork and chewed slowly before answering. Well, ma, it's only Sarah that has my keys. She's my current project and I'm almost done. But ma, when will this end? I'm already tired. Sure, it will be easy, but I feel like I'm losing my mind. The further I go, the worse it gets. Femi, I just told you that one of your so-called projects insulted me today and you're saying something else. Agnes snapped. Femi dropped his fork, picked up his phone. He dialed Sarah's number, and as soon as the call ended, he stood up angrily and stormed to his room. Agnes shook her head. Why are you angry now? All I've done is help you. Days later, Sarah stormed into Femi's office at his fabrics company. Without a word, she pulled the ring off her finger and threw it at him. If you cannot protect me from your mother, what can you protect me from? I don't want to see you ever again, she yelled, her voice shaking with emotion. Femi pretended to run after her, but stopped the moment she drove off. He returned to his office and sat down heavily, rubbing his head. Just as he was about to settle in, his friend Will walked in, laughing. Boss, you successfully added another ex to your list, he said, shaking his head. Bro, see, I think you should take a break from women for now, okay? These women will gather swear for you one day. Rest, bro, rest. Femi hissed and scrolled through his phone, looking worried. Guy, you no go understand. He was already aware of the mess he was in. The problem was, he didn't know how to get out. Meanwhile, Sarah sat in her car, gripping the steering wheel tightly. Tears streamed down her face as she replayed the events in her head. She had truly believed Femi loved her. She had given him everything. How could she have been so blind? Femi was tired of it all. He decided to take a break indeed. He missed his calm and private days. Weeks later, his mother called him one evening while he exercised on the treadmill in his private gym. "Femi, what is it now? Why do you want to put me in trouble?" she asked, sounding worried. Femi immediately stepped down from the treadmill. It sounded serious. "What is it this time, Mom?" "I should be asking you that," she replied. "Why are you no longer faithful to your part of our agreement?" Oh, that?" Femi asked, wiping his face with a towel. "Yes, Femi, that." Agnes snapped. "Femi, if only you know what's at stake, you would take this seriously." She hung up before he could say anything else. Femi was exhausted, but if his mother sounded this way, then he knew he had to run because there was fire on the mountain. The next day, he made plans to go back to the bar that evening to find another girl, but things don't always go as planned. That afternoon, in his office, his secretary walked in and said, "Sir, a fashion designer wants to see you. She says it's about business." Femi was excited because this kind of calls meant big clients with big deals. The door opened and a lady walked in. She smiled and said, "I'm Emily," extending a hand for a handshake. The moment Femi saw her, he knew he was in trouble. But he composed himself and smiled. "Welcome to the One Fabrics. Please, have a seat." As he suspected, she was a big client, but there was something about her that scared him, a feeling that she may become more than just a client, probably a wife. Months later, Femi was already head over heels for Emily. Though it took a lot to convince her that he wouldn't dump her like the others, he finally won her over. They became an enviable pair. But there was a problem. It kept Femi awake every night. He didn't know what to do, so he ignored it and focused on having fun. Since he started dating Emily, he stopped picking his mother's calls. He only sent short replies. Emily always asked to meet his parents, but he kept promising her, later. One day, Emily was walking out of a mall after shopping when an elderly woman stopped her, shouting, "Leave my son alone, oh! This girl, leave my son alone or else!" Among other abusive words. Emily quietly entered her car and drove off. The next day was Sunday. Femi visited Emily, but she was sad. "Why does your mother hate me when she doesn't even know me?" she asked. "Well, she's just being overprotective. Just ignore her. I'll talk to her." But that was not the end. On another occasion, she was beaten up by thugs with a warning to stay away from Femi. Femi was willing to lose anything to keep Emily. That night, he decided to tell her the truth. He held her hand and took a deep breath. "Emily, there's something you need to know." "What is it?" she asked, looking into his troubled eyes. Femi swallowed hard. "When my business was struggling, back in the years, my mother got a charm to help me. It required me to sleep with different women, often to keep it active. That's why you knew me as a playboy. I'm naturally not a playboy. I was one to never date or marry any girl." Emily's face was unreadable. "There should be more to this," she said, tapping her chin in deep thought. Look at this lady. Aren't you scared? Or do you not just hear what I said? Why should I be? Nothing can happen to me." Just then, Femi turned on his phone and saw 40 missed calls from his father. Alarmed, he called back. "Femi, come on quickly, your mother. She's acting strange." Chief Duncan's voice was full of panic. Femi and Emily immediately hurried off. At his parents' mansion, they found Agnes looking messy and scary, while she mumbled to herself. Chief Duncan rushed to them. "Femi, we are in trouble. She has been like this since yesterday night. Before she became like this, she told me everything. She said that you didn't keep your part of the deal. That's why she's this way." Femi's heart pounded. "So this is why she was so pushy about it. No, Mom, no." But suddenly, Agnes screamed and collapsed. Femi rushed to her side. Mom! Chief Duncan felt her pulse and said, "She's gone." Femi felt his world crash. He stared at his mother's lifeless body, unable to process it. Tears rolled down his face. I shouldn't have listened to Mom. I should have just found other ways to save my business. What's this? Emily placed a hand on his shoulder. Come on, it's past right now. Femi looked at her, his eyes filled with pain and regret. What do I do now? I just lost my mother for my mistake. You can start afresh. Without the charm, without the lies. Just you and God, Emily said. Femi nodded slowly. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in years, he felt a weight lift off his shoulders. And so he took Emily's hand, ready to begin a new chapter.